All right, we're back, and we're gonna mix things up a little bit. We're gonna take a few questions. So Rachel is. We're gonna take a few questions on what we've currently talked about. So as far as anything related to the vision and identity so far, Rachel is getting text from the West Coast and from the folks who aren't here. She's already got a couple questions in. But before we do that, I do want to mention one thing that's critical. As we talk up here, there's a lot of stuff, as you've probably caught on, there's a lot of stuff that we've talked about for a year or two. And we're the handful of folks who are up here, but many have been involved. You've heard a couple names. We mentioned Sarah's name, Rachel's name. Michael Palermo has been critically involved in a lot of the design and the branding discussions. Amy, from a culture perspective and shaping some of this stuff. And so, I mean,
team on the website.
Brian Hunt, he came. We brought in an outside consultant on some of the vision questions to help with that because had so much tunnel vision. The digital group, Steve Sprules, the rest of the team, amazing job, and what you guys have done. Yeah, Steve Thorson, Ashley, Mark and Charlie on the West Coast, a lot of meetings, a lot of phone calls. So, the last thing we want to do is sit up here and say, this is all about us, because it's not. There are many people that we just couldn't fit up on the stage. We talked about having a really large panel, but that'd get kind of crazy. That was a joke. Guys, man.
We need a laugh track.
Yeah, we do. Hit the button. Matthew, do you have a laugh track? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'll do this every time I need it.
Also, names I didn't mention. Mark Spar, huge help through a lot of this stuff as he's contributed. Steve could go on and on. So definitely wanted to point that out. So as we say we mean we as in leader. But we do want to take questions. We want to open it up to you guys. Like I mentioned, Rachel's got the mic, and she's going to call out or read off some of the text from the offsiders. So, any questions so far on what we've covered? Mr. Hunt.
No.
I noticed when you were going through what makes us different, how we differentiate ourselves, you said we're a group of experts. And who are those experts?
That's easy. It's everybody. It's not us on the stage. It's everybody in the company. If you've been hired into leader, you're an expert in what you do. You may be an expert in executing. You may be an expert in digital marketing, PR, or whatever. We all are the experts. Leader is made up of not some experts or a handful of experts. Leader is made up of experts. So everybody is an expert.
If you look on the card under you, be an expert, that's it. If you're not, get out of here.
Steve White.
No.
For the West Coast to hear, I guess we could repeat it.
So with this robust new unified marketing approach, as you look forward to next year and beyond, there's two ways to grow your business. One is to look at your existing client base and to see if you can obviously grow your relationship since they're already paying you, they've already hired you, you have a high credibility with them. And the other piece, obviously, is new business opportunities. So as we look forward, what do you see the blend of that? Is there a focus on some of our existing client base? I know I've heard Glock could see really a spike in sales with some new products. So what does that mean for us? And then maybe talk about what are some new opportunities you see out there?
Todd and Clark.
Yeah. Well, I can answer it in two parts. The first is we're going to have marketing assets that I think everybody in this room, on the phone, wherever you might be, are going to be proud of. So the first thing we need to do is activate all of us, all right? We all have relationships, fathers, brothers, mothers, friends at different companies. Some might say, that our website and other things might have been a little lacking recently. And so you might not have wanted to showcase it as much. But what we're going to show you, I think, puts us in a different place. So you should be proud of that. So we need to activate all of us. The other part is when you talk about our current clients, look, it's been our secret sauce. See, it works. Good job, dude. You got it. You got it. But that's been how we've gained business in the past. There is a tree. They talk about again, sports analogy, Bill Walsh coaching tree. We have a client tree. We talked about one of our clients that's gone from Newell Rubbermaid to Mizuno to Radio Flyer to Bell Helmets. And we're like, she's our Johnny Appleseed. You know, I mean, she's taken us all those places. So we have to impress those guys. Clark and I were just talking about all the people that he's going to be engaging. So
yeah, I think you know, you've seen it at General Mills a few months ago, where 850 people left the company, and 450 of those or so were in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and it was mostly on the marketing side. And so just after 12 years of leading that account, there's some pretty deep relationships that now I'm in the process of chasing. And so customers like, potential clients like Target and Amazon.com and Schwann's and several of those companies, these people are starting to land and are, I'm in relationship, in contact with them, and they're saying, hey, why don't you come with us? Kraft is another one. Why don't you come with us? And so starting to develop that as well. And then I think the other thing we kind of touched on earlier is just it's key is we've got to continue to perform on all of our existing accounts. Look for ways that you can deep drill it, but we've got to perform, and that is part of keeping those clients. Those are the things that keep us going.
And do you want to talk about, because we've had a lot of discussions about it, the types of clients that are right for us?
I think plus to your question, Steve, I think as we look at the examples, because again, we've been doing this, of where we've elevated the story at our clients versus just the work or the practice area. We've elevated the story at Glock about what is it about. Same at General Mills, same at Radio Flyer. It takes things to tell a story, and so it becomes about more than just digital, and so when we elevate to the story, we bring along other people. And I think what we've seen is that at the Glocks, at General Mills, as we do that, as we push Unified, and it's about your story, those accounts have dramatically increased the amount of revenue to us. And so I think it's in our best interest, from a value perspective for us, to continue to expand at current clients and to push story at our current clients and help elevate all that we're doing there. And I think to these guys' point, it is, how do we tap that alumni network from clients? Because they have seen our work and know that we do good work. And I think to your question, we're also, we're nicely advantaged at medium-sized businesses. I think kind of a sweet spot for us is that $500 million to $1 billion in revenue. They tend to have smaller marketing departments that need more help, that need a comprehensive storyteller for them, versus General Mills, who has a full-fledged post-MBA staff to tell a marketing story. Mm-hmm. And we're a bit competitive with those guys. Your medium-sized businesses need that holistic partner. And so I think as we think about where we go, where we grow, it's going to be hitting that market harder.
Who else? Any other questions about vision or any of the identity stuff that we've covered so far?
Hello. Oops. So after the internal launch of what you guys are doing with the Leader website and the brand, is there a formal introduction to the clients we already have? I mean, I know you'll be using it to sell into new clients, but I didn't know if there was a plan.
Yeah, I'll take that. Is that all right?
Do it. Go for it.
All right. So we're planning on launching everything around the website. What we don't want to do is kind of leak this out, although we are cheating a little because some of our new business decks, we're utilizing the new look and feel and saying our website's coming. But we want to have an effective launch on the launch date when the website's ready, so that when we're going out with PR, when we're going out with phone calls and personal emails and trying to activate that, when they come to the website to check everything out, it tells a cohesive, consistent brand story. So we'll be talking about that launch plan more towards the end of November that we're going to be activating.
But this is part of the plan to have us all understand the story.
Right, to educate you.
tell it.
Thank you. Good job.
Who else? Anybody else? Chance. Yeah, Rachel, do you have some text you can read off?
I think she just happens to.
I just happened to. This one is from Aaron DeBrita, and it is, how do you see one leader continuing to evolve?
Good question.
I mean, Jonathan just touched on it, so.
I think it's the same thing we just said. I think right now we'd probably say that we still have a mix of project or discipline-specific work, and we have a mix of story work, or we're doing more story-led. And I think the goal is in 2, 3, 4, 5 years where everything we do is about story. Everything is about delivering for that brand. I think as we do that, we'll expand in existing clients, we'll be attractive to other clients, and so I think that's the growth path.
And from a very practical standpoint, we're working towards trying to account and organize by account and by client. And so right now, what's hurting us a little bit, we're doing so many good things, but the silos are still there a little bit. And so the more, and we had a leadership team meeting yesterday, and we talked more about this, the more we can get into a client mentality of, here's the client team. And it may make up different members of different groups within, a couple members of digital, a couple members of PR, the team that comes together. That'll help us get there more practically. So, what else?
I have one more from Mike Davey, and it's, where do you personally envision leader in 2 years?
I know Randy's going to speak on this a little bit at the end as we conclude. Any of you guys want to chime in on that?
I think one of the areas that we've got to develop is just more accounts, and I'm not talking one-off accounts. I'm talking large, enterprising accounts that become part of the mix, like a Glock or a Radio Flyer or whoever, General Mills. We've got to find more of those, and then I think the other thing is important is that we've got to leverage the expertise that's in this room and in LA and leverage those against those other accounts. And so I think you're going to see that, I think, in the next couple of years. This takes a long time. It's not something that happens like that. It takes a couple, 2, 3 years before you can really start to develop these rich accounts.
We have to practice what we're talking about, and we're doing it in spots, but it needs to become our culture. And as we do that, it'll become second nature, and that you will see a very different leader in 2 years that you see today. Yeah. I'll know everybody by then.
I think hopefully the power of today is that we've had this somewhat ambiguous leader way that we've talked about, particularly for the 33 new that have joined. And the hope is, we've been practicing this somewhat unknowingly, some knowingly, over the last 12 years, 10 years. Hopefully today we've put a stake in the ground. We said, here are the expectations on a sheet of paper. And if we all live these, we won't have to go ask for accounts. They should be asking us. And so 2 years from now, we're actually living a common standard and producing work, producing value for our clients that they can't ignore.
And just to add to that, I would say, Mike, in 2 years, leader will basically be building on what the foundation that we have. And as we build from today, we have all the right tools in our toolkit. We're putting we're doing the right work. We're putting the right stakes in the ground, as Jonathan mentioned. We joked around yesterday and for the last couple of weeks. If we would have just started some of this work today, we'd be in big trouble because we're already seeing the need to be where we are, if that makes sense. And so the leader 2 years from now is building on the great client base that we have. Clark is right. There is a charge to develop more clients, and we're doing that. We've got a meeting tomorrow or a phone call tomorrow with a major company here in Atlanta. Everybody eats there probably at least once or twice a day.
Kentucky Fried Chicken?
We've got a great phone call with Chick-fil-A tomorrow. Clark is traveling cross country tomorrow to meet with somebody in Seattle who could be a great partner in the future. We're being more intentional in building these accounts. So we'll build on the foundation of the existing client base that we have. As far as internally, we'll have the structures in place, the processes and tools in place to help make everybody's job a little easier so that we can truly live out the leader way every day. And, Jonathan held up the cards. I mean, that's why this is so important. That's why the notes on here and that each individual understands what these things mean so that all of us can personalize them and we can act them out. We can live them out. At the end of the day, Brad's going to get up here and we're going to have a kind of a time of recognition where we're going to give away the first annual Leader Way Award. And it's for folks who have already, we've said we've been doing all this stuff. It's for people who have already been living out the leader way, and they're examples of, hey, here's someone who's doing it daily. It's building on the things that we're doing and the foundation that exists. We've just got to do it more intentionally. We've got to communicate better about it as a group, and each individual needs to take ownership and embrace these things so that we can do it collectively as a team. If we can do those things, then and we are doing a lot of it, the future's bright. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we close down this segment. I saw Sarah.
So y'all talked about the most important things right now being aligning in purpose, embracing change, performing with excellence, and driving profitability. Some of those are pretty practical. And you just mentioned embracing change. How can we do that practically every day as parts of what makes up the one leader and the unified team?
It's a great question, and the biggest thing you can do is if you have questions or if you have concerns, go talk to someone in leadership that you trust. If you're on the General Mills team and you have a question or concern about things that are changing, if it feels weird, if something doesn't feel right, go talk to Steve. If you're on the West Coast, talk to Charlie or Mark or Todd. What we can't continue to have is a culture or an environment where there's a lot of hearsay and there's a lot of discussion on things that aren't really true. And so what happens is it scares a lot of people. And so part of what we want to accomplish today is, hey, we come with truth. We want to build everything that we're doing on truth. We want to develop a trusting, trustworthy, and we think we have one. We want to continue to develop an organization that is built on that. So, Sarah, I think that's a great question. It was something we're gonna get to later in the presentation. But that really is a fundamental, practical thing that as teams and as a team that we all really need to put into practice. So today, moving forward, let's all commit to not diving in or embracing the confusion. Randy says it all the time. If you have questions, if there's confusion, come see me. My door's open. Come talk to me. He probably doesn't get as many visitors as he'd like on those hard things. A lot of people say, hey, I shouldn't do that or I couldn't do that. The door's always open. Go find someone you trust and that you respect. Mark Spar, Steve White, Clark, Todd, Mark, whoever, Brad, and ask the hard questions because they're really not that hard. And we've got the answers because we know where we're going. We just spent an hour talking through it. So if we can all do that, we can continue to build this organization that's founded on trust and be a very powerful thing. Again, one of those things that you just read, Sarah, is alignment and purpose. We all got to be on the same page. If we're not on the same page, we're in trouble because we're all doing different things. So something that can help is to kind of nip some of that stuff in the bud. Does that help? Does that answer? Is there a part B to the question? Say no. Laugh track. Where's the laugh track?
Got a point.
Yeah. All right, anything else? Any other questions? Good stuff. All right, we're gonna get into some fun stuff here. We're gonna talk about the expressions of the brand. This is a new logo. So we're gonna talk about the expressions of the brand. We're gonna quickly talk about the logo, and we're gonna talk about the website. And so this is fun stuff, and it's really good. So as we look at this slide, Rick, let's take a look back at Leader and the logo and what that looks like.
Yeah, I think we set a record for embroidery stitch count with this one back in 2001.
Because we do have this embroidered on a.
And I think we went through about 3 or 4 vendors to accomplish that. But yeah, this is where we started off. I think the first day I met Randy before the Leader Universal Marketing merger took place. He said, "Hello, I'm Randy Thrasher. We're not changing our logo." So, and I had unfortunately made some efforts towards it in advance of even meeting him or knowing him. So it was an ongoing thing. But the next slide will kind of show you kind of where we've changed it. We haven't recreated it along the way, and some of it was. So a lot of it was in an attempt to simply modernize and to get something that was perhaps a little more current or relevant. I think we talk about those kinds of things. Probably the most transformational piece of it was the go-to-market is simply Leader. And that we all kind of know every now and again we are Leader Enterprises, leadership enterprises, but going to market as Leader has been, it's strong. It's a strong enough thing. But so, as we were looking, I can't even read that, so I'm going to look at my things here. I know, but the things on them. So the challenge was to kind of create this logo, which tells the story of our foundation and the heritage. A lot of the stuff we've talked about, something that will give the organization something to be inspired by, that they'll understand the tenets of, and that it reflects leaders' ability to combine strategy, creativity, and deliver unified marketing solutions. So a lot of the stuff that we just talked about, we needed to represent within the logo. So, and again, props to Steve and Michael for just walking along this logo journey. I think Michael said it best when we were in a meeting and we went through iteration after iteration around this logo. He said, "This is the most difficult thing I've ever had to do," and the sweat equity and everything that went into it could make it difficult in and of itself, but I think the most difficult piece was actually developing a logo, a mark, which actually told the story. And there were a lot of iterations throughout. So essentially this logo, it comes out to you define your logo. It doesn't define you. So even back to some of this strategic conversations we've been having about fact-based things, sandboxes and whatnot, we needed to make sure our logo wasn't simply a cool logo, but why are we changing it? What is it for? What's the story behind it, and what does it tell? So there's sort of 4 tenets within the logo that we're going to speak to. I know. There's kind of this heritage and values and culture piece. We wanted to make sure that in our logo we really represented and carried these things across, because this is our foundation, this is who we are. We want to honor those who've gone before us. There was this piece of the people, the processes, and our level of service. Chad had mentioned before, we look at our work, we look at our people, so we need to make sure that the servitude is represented within the logo. Additionally, the lower right kind of is this expertise, strategy, and creativity, the forward thinking, the cutting edge technology, the insight driving solutions. And then this piece of completion, onlyness, or unity. So kind of leader as a whole. What's the period to it? What is the punctuation at the end that signifies completion of a project, of a person?
If I can add to that, you can talk about the color and why it's orange.
Go ahead.
Well, back to the brandscaping exercise, one of the metaphors is a tree. And the tree that we selected to represent Leader was the maple tree, which is, we all know, very multifunctional. Syrup, benches, it's provides a bunch of shade. It's very big and broad, and it also has beautiful color in the fall. There's one on my street, and it's just amazing. And I think what we came to is that Leader is multifunctional. Leader is like a maple tree. It can have many forms, many shapes. And we hope that on occasion we have a splash of brilliance, a splash of color. That should be our mark as an agency. We should be able to do that and provide that color. As we think about the period, or the circle at the end here, that is our splash of color. And what we want to emphasize with that is that our splash of color should never overshadow our clients. It's always about the story of the client. And that's where we, again, back to that element of agencies sometimes get so lost in their own brilliance, lost in their own creative, that they overshadow their clients, that their work overshadows their clients. We never want that to be the case with Leader. It should always complement and should complete. And together, us able to tell a story together provides that completeness, and that's our mark, that's our splash.
Yeah. So the heritage and value, we've represented that with the serif from the original Leader logo. We've got this, what we're calling this crafted corner, which speaks to the kind of organic service people piece, and the leading edge, which is this forward-thinking, creative push, and then the completed circle, which is sort of this in-season splash of brilliance, kind of to the maple tree reference. And we can get deeper. But so, folks, this is our new logo, and it's something that we're real proud of because of what it represents. And it is going to move forward, Stephanie, with just some specific application. You'll see it in the website that Jeremy's going to walk through. You'll see it in capabilities decks. I mean, it's going to come across, but it has been a laborious labor of love, and it's been it's been a wonderful experience to just kind of design alongside the groups and feed off each other. I mean, it's been interesting how even the digital design has fed some of this additional brand, and some of the treatments along the way has been great. But it's something we're real proud of. I hope it's something that when you all see, you know what it represents and can recognize. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about our website next. Randy, close your eyes. How many people have been embarrassed or kind of made excuses for the website? All right, there we go. You like it. There you go. It's because it doesn't cost anything, the old one. Huh? Classic rock. Yeah, classic rock. We've gotten a ton of feedback back from you guys, our clients. The worst of it was existing clients who said, you know, that website doesn't represent you guys at all. It doesn't feel like what I experience every day. And we had clients that we just hired, that had just hired us that said, yeah, I didn't have my superiors look at your website because I wanted to hire you. We kind of took some of those clues and said, we might need to change it just a little bit. So we huddled up as a team, obviously looked for the strategic insights, looked at the brand, where we were going, looked at what we wanted to do from a new business standpoint, really looked at who would be using the website. And a lot of it is for prospecting and people that are checking us out. And so what are we conveying? What are we communicating? So as we huddled up with the digital team, and obviously tons of influence from Michael and Rick and everybody else, we said we need to showcase those three things. We need to showcase our work. We need to showcase our process. We need to showcase our people. That has to come to life through our website. So what you should see is much less text, a lot of big, bold visuals, a lot of information about our clients, a lot about our unified process, how we work collaboratively to tell those brand stories. And the other thing that was an insight, and Jonathan talked about it, when we look at 2 years from now, we hope that we will have the majority of our clients, or a lot more, that are unified accounts. But there still are clients that we've got right now that recognize us as a shopper marketing agency, or as a brand strategy group, or an ad agency, or a PR firm. And so if there is good work, or if that is our foot in the door with the right types of clients, We want to be able to take that step also. We want them to know that we have a depth of knowledge in shopper marketing. We're not just one expert, we're a team of people that are dedicated to this. Same with digital and events and those. So we need to highlight those practices, but then we need to bring it all together under this unified umbrella. And that's really what the purpose of the site is, and Jeremy will be able to talk to some of that. And I might jump in once or twice.
Yeah, so jumping into the actual site, I guess we could have just walked through it while you were
Let's
running
walk
through it.
through it.
Let's do it. So just to preface it with saying that, to Todd's point, I mean, this has been a complete collaborative effort between all the creative minds, throughout the organization. Our digital creative, Michael Palermo, and everyone else that's been involved.
Yeah,
Thorsten, yeah,
and then
especially.
Steve and Rachel keeping us on task.
Yeah. So, without further ado, what we're looking at here is the homepage of the website, and you'll notice it looks like a huge image. That's kind of the polite version of what we're calling these images. It's a huge ass image, is how we've dubbed it.
And this is from Icon, which is a client.
Exactly. And so the point here is to showcase our work throughout the whole site. It's not just stock photography. It's not a representation of what we do. It's actually what we do. And you'll notice on the left side there we have leader is brand strategy. And this is the first of many different slides that will come in to wrap up all the different practice areas into one common unified marketing theme. With it, whereas the old site, it was more about I click into digital, I click into PR, here's what we do. Now it's all under one umbrella. I'll click through it so you can see each one of those, but I want to highlight, in the top right, this is the first, application of the logo. So when we launch the website, we're going to include the new branding and identity in that. This will be our first entree to really get our clients on board with our new look and feel. So I'll just click through some of the different pieces. You can see how it comes together. Brand strategy, events, advertising, public relations, leaders, digital, shopper marketing. These will all be sliding in until eventually we come to the last culmination of them, which is the unified marketing agency. And so everything will essentially combine into this, this slideshow of the different practice areas, into the unified marketing agency. Shortly after that, and again, this is all going to be like one experience. So when you come to the website, it'll automatically play. It's almost like you're presenting it to the client when they come to the site. Our sizzle reel video will slide in from the left so that they can experience it through video.
Yeah, that's like a 5-second build, right? We go brand strategy, advertising. It's just going to take you through as if I was telling you it.
Yeah, and it's a little difficult to convey the way that the site will flow through images. But one of the concepts is that this will be one large page essentially, where it's a continuity of the next section. It's not going to be a choppy, individual page experience. You're going to be flowing through it. The background image, as you notice, has changed as you're clicking through or as you're sitting on the page. So we'll be seeing different events, different client work that we do showcase through the imagery. So I'll flip through some of these. We'll cover shopper marketing, so the event work that we do. See some of these images here. And that covers the homepage. You'll notice, I wanted to go back here, that on the bottom right, we have a box there which contains some social media components. One of our goals through the new website is to really get our social presence to where it needs to be. Some of the work that we've done for our clients is amazing. We're managing Glock Social, we're managing social for General Mills. We're not really managing our own social at this point in time. So, through some thought leadership, through blogs, through Facebook, Twitter, everything included in that, we really want to demonstrate that, not only are we good stewards of our clients' social media presence, but we're actually going to be building our own. So you'll see down the bottom right there, we've got our Facebook, Twitter, and blog. That'll be persistent throughout the site. Moving on here to the next section, which is the what we do. This will be essentially immersion into all of our success stories that we're dubbing our case studies, our success stories at this point in time. So it'll be a combination of videos and images. You'll be able to dig into the work that we've done, similar to what Todd presented earlier today. But we really want to leverage multimedia, so as much video and large images as well with that, as well as actual figures and units of measure. There's about 100 other slides we could present right here today, but we don't really have time. But digging into that View Our Success Stories link there, that big orange banner there, is a whole other world of the work that we do at Leader.
Jump in for a sec. So along the bottom, you've got the client logos. We've got 3 separate groupings of 18 of our biggest clients. So you'll be able to click on Radio Flyer and be taken directly to a Radio Flyer case study or General Mills or TaylorMade, and that rotates in groups of 6 through there. You see the video up on the left-hand side there. Eventually, we're going to have both that sizzle reel. This is eventually where that sizzle reel will live because it's more about the work we're doing. And on the home page, we're going to have more of kind of that spiritual journey, cultural deal that's all about our people and what makes us tick and all that stuff. So the sizzle reel that you saw earlier today is just kind of eye candy to get you all excited about what we do. The video that we'll be developing probably in early 2013 is more of that cultural piece about what makes us unique and different.
Okay. So moving on,
just real quick on the case studies. We have compiled all the information for our work into, I think, how many, Rachel? 50, 100? Closer to 50? 100 sounds good. About 50 case studies. And so one labor of love that went into this through Rachel and Charlie and some other folks was collecting all the pictures, all the video, all the data, which shows the results. And so we have, I don't think we show it today, but we have kind of a mock-up of what the case study information looks like. So all that to say, if you're working on something, we now have a process to pull our work together to form case studies. So if you're ever working on anything and it's a great project, it needs to be highlighted, call Rachel, get this together into a case study, because this is something that we're going to constantly be trying to pull together, because it's all going to be highlighted on the site under each client.
Well, and we've got to be elevating it for Facebook and Twitter and blogs as well. We just got to push more of our work out.
Speaking of that, and I know Todd or somebody made a reference to Adweek. We're not in Adweek every week or on the cover of Adweek. We were in Adweek this week or last week, which is huge. Was it last week?
Last
weeks
week.
ago, which was the Radio Flyer commercials. And so Leader Enterprises was named or mentioned a couple times and cited and credited for the work that we've done. So I don't know if that's gone out company-wide. I don't know if Charlie sent it out to everybody or not. Charlie, you may want to send that out to everybody. That's the kind of huge hits that should be on here. It should be, to your point, should go out in social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or whatever. We will actively be reviving our social media presence, and we'll have a way to manage that and manage those communities. So,
by the way, just as another aside, just to say how outdated we were, 4 months ago, our sizzle reel that was on our website was featuring LeBron James while he was still in high school. Like, that was old. And Lance Armstrong, before he got busted for drugs, it was bad. So it's out.
Crazy.
That's the weak laugh track.
Yeah. All right, we're moving on here to the Who We Are section. So this is the, essentially a snapshot into Leader. And we've had some fun facts that Brad shared earlier. I think it's relevant, and a lot of agencies do some of this, but really exposing the culture at Leader and some of the who we are and what we do is really relevant and speaks to our clients. So we wanted to capture that through this, as well as explain the different practice areas and our focus and how we bring it all together. So in this one page here, we're looking at our people and their makeup. We're also looking at what it is that we do through this wheel on the left over here. So this will be an interactive component that you're able to mouse over. The dial will essentially turn to where you point. You'll be able to see what that is. You'll be able to click in and learn more. And below that, we'll have a Leader history interactive timeline that shows from the very beginning all the way to where we are right now what that progression looked like. So you can get a feel for the legacy of Leader all on one page. Clicking on the Meet Our Team of Experts here, this is where, again, we're not able to show every single piece in the time we have today, but you'll really be able to dig into every single person that makes up Leader. So there'll be headshots of everybody, what they do, their areas of expertise, a lot of different ways to sort and view and get a deeper understanding of who we are as Leader.
Jump in one more time then. So see the circle with the shopper marketing around it? The idea of the circle, the complete circle, is something we're going to be carrying forward in a lot of the stuff because it's that unified marketing approach. So what you'll see when we do the case studies for the clients, if it was the radio flyer program or whatnot, you would see a circle and it would highlight the percentages of the different disciplines that we have that worked on that project. So it might be 20% brand strategy, 40% advertising, 30% PR. Am I at 100 yet?
90.
I'm getting
90.
close. But you'll see that consistently. The same thing will happen for each of you. So on your slide where we're talking about you, through the survey research we did, we're going to highlight what makes 100% of you. So it'll be all of your answers highlighted in that same consistent circle. So it'll be kind of cool, unless you lied.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then this slide here, this is really getting into our methodologies, our principles, and our point of view. We really wanted to bring it all together here to not only explain, the stuff we've talked about today and give some insight into who we are as a leader, but also push our thought leadership out to our clients, potential clients, our colleagues, and in the industry overall. So this will be a blog essentially with postings about different industry trends, client work that we've done, really a combination of all these pieces here. And I think it's going to be a really critical part of building that content to keep people coming back to the website. Also on the right here, there's an infographic, and Rick, I don't know if you want to speak a little bit to the thought that went into this, but really this is, throughout the site there's a theme of explaining what unified marketing is and explaining what the services that Leader offers are and how you get from point A to point B in this blend of art and science.
Yeah, again, it's kind of how do you explain unified marketing? How do you explain what we do? We wanted to visually do it. So this is going to be more or less kind of this unified marketing machine. An opportunity comes in the machine that's led with strategy and insight. It comes in this kind of outer spinning arrow pieces, this unified marketing concepting development process which develops the campaign, which then is funneled in through our category experts from an executional standpoint in their mediums to target this individual consumer with a singular message in the center of the machine. The output is kind of these measurable results for the client. So that's...
You practiced that pretty hard last night, didn't you?
It's simple.
It took a while to
It's intuitive.
Clearly. Laugh track there.
Exactly. That was good. Over the head.
So there's, to my previous point, there's a whole lot of other visuals for the website, and we've only have a snapshot here of what it will look like and what it the substance that'll be contained there is. But someone had a question earlier. What's the plan to roll this out? Really what we intended with this originally was to validate us as an agency, the good work that we do, the good people that we have, our expertise. But I think it's also evolved past that as well too. So I think we're accomplishing that through this website. But looking into the future, as we roll out the site, it's also a lead generating tool. As we build our social network and as we build our content, and as people come to the website, clients that we may not have engaged at the level of talking with them in person, and they're going to the website to say, yeah, these guys are legit. So that's kind of the evolution. Is let's get the site to where we are and position us for the future, and then going forward, really use it as a tool to not only enforce the sales and new business opportunities that we have with our existing and potential clients, but also generate leads as well. I think that takes us to...
Yeah, if I can just add one last thought, I promise. Is we've already been testing this to a large extent with some of these new business decks that we've used, and we've gotten a great response from prospective clients. And so again, what we've done is that look and feel that we've created with the video and the website is being carried over to a lot of our other materials, just so we have that cohesive brand message that we're telling in the marketplace.
And we can't say enough about the digital team. Steve Sprules, Thorson, Michael, I mean, all you guys, I mean, your patience, Brad Merriweather, your patience through this, I mean, you guys have been great.
Ashley.
Yeah, I know I'm missing folks, but a lot of phone calls, a lot of dialogue, a lot of discussion, a lot of hard discussion, a lot of questions, a lot of folks involved. So it's been great, great process. So thanks, Jeremy. All right, moving along. If you can't tell, the house is kind of building. We're building the house here, so it's getting bigger. Thank you, Rick, for this image.
It was a different image, for the record, and it probably built a little bit clearer, but it was a last-minute adjustment.
Someone called the other image a birdhouse.
Doghouse. Yeah. Oh yeah, birdhouse. Where's the string?
This is much better.
What
so, let's jump in. We've hit vision, we've hit identity. We're gonna talk quickly about infrastructure and culture. There's not a lot here. It's very robust, but we'll cruise through it very quickly. The idea here, you've heard this term, unified account management. May or may not have heard the term. Some people have heard a lot about it. Some people may not have heard it at all. But you know, we walked through what we do. We're a unified marketing agency. We're going to be moving, and we have been moving toward having these unified account teams. As we look to better service and deliver our services to our clients. And it looks something like this. This is a very generic illustration of what this could like, and we'll give you a couple real-life examples of, how we're already doing it. So for client A, there is a relationship-type manager. So say it's Clark on General Mills. He's running the relationship. He's the relationship point, kind of the strategy for the account. There are facilitators or account managers who are helping to run that account and run the day-to-day, which we've got, and primarily three major account managers for the GMI team. And then as there's opportunities to work across practice areas, we pull in the execution experts within their specific discipline. So again, using the GMI example, when Walmart or whoever, whatever example, Safeway for the GMI accounts need PR and digital, the account manager, if it's Lydia, she's calling in, calling up digital, maybe working with Thomas or Casey or whoever to bring those digital services for the Walmart account for digital. And then she's contacting maybe Katie Kodarak or whoever else on the West Coast to pull in the PR group. And so she's kind of functioning as this, what we call this unified account manager. There's nothing fancy about it. We're already doing a lot of it. We're just going to try to add a little structure to it, add a little more depth to it. But it's somebody who is working across practice areas to pull the right resources in for that client. You guys want to expound on that or maybe add a little more detail? All right, wow. Laugh track, please. So again, we're already doing this. We're doing this for General Mills. We're going to be moving to do it in a different way for Glock, but we've been doing it. We've been pulling together all of our practice areas. The takeaway here is to best service our clients. Again, you've heard us say this. We're going to have to organize and think more like account teams. So what that means is that TaylorMade may have an account team made up of different folks from different groups within Leader. General Mills is doing it. New client A or B or C will have to staff accordingly with this newer model so that we can best deliver the service and the results that we need to. Which brings us to our unified process. A lot of you have been involved in working on refining the processes for each group. Again, as we've grown in the last couple of years, we need more defined processes of how we do our work. How do we deliver for our clients? It's got to be on paper. It's got to be something that when we hire new people, we can easily explain to them, here is the Leader way of running a project for digital or for shopper marketing or for a unified account that runs all of our practice areas. So Jonathan, why don't you kind of walk through this briefly? I know it's something that we've been working on for about a year or so.
So make it quick. I know we're up against time. I think the bottom line here is that, again, we go back to what we do. We tell compelling brand stories. So how do you build a brand story? This should be how we think about it in these 7 steps. So really quickly, we have an opportunity with a client. They come to us. Step number 2 is that you figure out the facts of the case. You develop what's going on in the marketplace with the client, with their consumer. Then you develop the narrative. What's the story going to be about how they should engage their market? And that's the concepting. Then you prepare for launch. And then that's where we bring together all of our teams to then execute against that narrative into the marketplace. And then, of course, we want to manage and track. We need to make sure that it was effective, that it delivered exceptional results, as our statement says. And then finally close out to make sure we understand what went well, what didn't go well, what the results were, post the case study for our own marketing, our own brand story. And there you go, 7 steps.
Is that
done?
So a tool that we're going to use, a lot of you guys have heard about AdTask. I think training is this week. AdTask is going to help us walk through that process. So the last slide, I mean, the processes do get, they're pretty robust, but we don't have the best tools. We're not equipped to run some of the stuff the way that it needs to be run as it gets more complicated working across practice areas. So that's why we've tapped into AdTask. It's something that the digital group has been piloting and using for about 9 or 10 months. We're all going to begin using it beginning in January. But Jeremy, briefly, why don't you talk about your experience using it and what it's done for your group?
Well, using AdTask is essentially an extension of this, this collaboration thing that we've been discussing. So what it does is allow you to take all the ideas, all the information, all your day-to-day tasks, and continue to collaborate in one centralized location. So while it doesn't sound all that glamorous, it's completely and totally essential to our day-to-day operations. And AdTask is an enterprise-level solution that allow us to get all these different pieces we're talking about, all the different the unified marketing accounts and all the different work across the different practice areas into one centralized location. So the goal here is to have healthier projects, to know where we are, in the process, to be able to see how we're tracking against budgets, and really to get a centralized place for us all to talk and be on the same page. I think everybody wants to have visibility into what everybody else is doing, so it's not tunnel vision on what's my piece of this. We're talking about elevating the brands, and are we doing it on a daily basis? I mean, your contribution on whatever level it may be in the project is playing a larger part in an overall initiative. And AdTask is a tool that allows everybody to see into that. Plus, it's got a really cool iPhone app. So.
And the process and AdTask and the model, unified model, it's a lot to take in, and we understand that. I mean, especially a lot for a lot of you guys who maybe this is new information. So there is not an expectation that this will be implemented tomorrow. This really is kind of the kickoff to make sure it's just, hey, you guys know we're talking about it. This is kind of where we're headed. We've got to collaborate better. This is going to help with that. So over the coming months, everybody take a deep breath.
Are we passing out the quiz now?
At the end, yeah. So over the next coming months, we'll begin. You'll see more about this. So just know that it's coming. You've seen emails from David about AdTask training. Take the classes. I think the one tomorrow is an hour. Is that right, David? The next one's a couple hours, but it'll be a huge help to just kind of moving it along to where we need it to be. So, any questions about any of this stuff? You'll be hearing more about it. So, we want to jump to culture and conclude here. And there's only a couple slides. So as you've seen, I mean, we're building towards something, and our culture is last intentionally here because we've saved the best for last. I mean, it's incredibly important to everything we're doing. We've talked a little bit about it today. I want to read a couple quotes Randy shared last year about culture. He said, "We want a culture where attitude and behaviors align with our values and purpose." That's a little bit what we've tried to talk about today. To build a culture where attitudes and behaviors, kind of going back to these cards, align with our values and our purpose of why we're here. He also said we want to be intentional about shaping our culture. It's not going to happen on its own. I mean, we've got to really be intentional and take the steps to make sure we shape it. So he said we want to be intentional about shaping our culture. We want it to be a priority. We want commitment to one another to uphold our values and our attitudes. So as we leave here, we're not leaving yet, but as we leave here, culture is important, and our people are important. You've heard us say the two main things we started with through a lot of these discussions a year ago was the good work that we do and the great people that we have. And we're not perfect, but we want to be. We've kind of worked this out over the last year or two. There have been bumps in the road. I mean, Brad walked through some of that in the 4S slide. But we do desire a healthy culture built on the leader way. And so what's special coming out of today is the leader way is on paper, and everybody knows what we're talking about when we say the leader way. And so just know that. And as we go to this is, I think, our only slide for culture, we do want to kind of look back on the year. It's easy to say, we have not a lot's going on. And it's easy to say we haven't covered a whole lot. And so this is just a quick snapshot of some of the things that we have done. Some of the things on here are social. There's some things on here that are giving back or are more community-type efforts. There's some training stuff on here, like the Right Path training that everybody went through. There's other things like summer hours, which are fun and a huge help during the summertime. Leaderboard, which is trying to get some good communication out there and create that as a portal of information. And of course, we couldn't leave the LA McNugget Challenge off of here. I mean, that was critical.
Big.
That's real big. Corporate giving. I mean, a lot of you may or may not know. The company tithes every year. We tithe based on our net income, and it goes back to the foundation and the history and heritage and the hearts of Brad and Randy. And so there's a lot here as we talk about culture. But coming out of today, no matter what's on the screen next year, we do want to be intentional about what this looks like and how we shape it. And so we can, let's all commit to do that together. And a lot of it starts here. So we can't emphasize enough. Take these home, take them to work, put them on your desk, pin them on your boards or whatever, and you'll be hearing more about these in the coming weeks and months, and how we can all, again, continue to live this out and activate some of this stuff. Anything you guys would add on culture? Anything else we've missed? One thing I want to do in conclusion, just quickly recap, and then we'll finish with a question for everybody. We've hit on vision. We've talked about our purpose and the leader way. We've talked about our identity and who we are, and some of the process we've gone through to determine those things, and the expressions of the brand. So the logo and the website primarily. We've talked a little bit very quickly about the infrastructure. So what do we need to drive towards? What do we need to put in place to drive towards sustainability? You've heard that word already today. And then the culture. We've done a lot, but we need to do better. A goal should be to be one of the best places to work. That's our desire. And so it's important that everybody knows that's where we want to go. That's how we want to treat each other and to be for this place to be like. So we've talked about those four things. We don't again expect everybody to remember all this coming out of here, but at least it's a good baseline discussion, and we can reiterate it and continue to talk about it. So when you see emails from Brad or Randy or from any of us, this is what we mean, this is what we're talking about, and this is where we're going. And we'll end, just quickly for you guys as we jump off the stage and let Brad get up here. Just a simple question. I mean, why are we all here at Leader? I think it's important that we answer that question. And what are you guys
most excited about, if you're assuming you're excited about something. So, Clark, if you don't mind, why don't we start with you? Why are you here?
Yep. I think, I've been here almost 12 years, and Leader has provided an environment where I can kind of live out the servant leadership, and that's what I was talking about earlier. That's important to me. It was important to find a work home where I could live those values out and work with clients that appreciated it. And it's been a blessing to be able to work with General Mills, because they certainly have appreciated it. I look forward to other clients, but it's a place where I can live that out, and that's at the core of who I am, is that whole piece of being a servant.
I think probably similar to Clark. I think it's just the opportunity to work with people, to serve with people, to learn from people. Leader has been a place that's allowed for self-discovery and change. It's been a place that's allowed you to walk through life. I mean, if you've been here 15 years or whatever it's been, you've walked through a good bit of life. But it's just also, I'm excited about kind of where we're going. I'm excited about when we walked through the Brandscape exercise. To me, that was my kind of aha moment, where the LA people and the digital people and all these different people actually came and talked about things. And there was quick consensus on who we are. Are we this? Are we that? And just even the back and forth discussion was real fruitful. And I think Leader has been a place that's allowed me to just kind of be exposed to a lot.
For me, I think it's more about stepping outside of my comfort zone. I think it's, coming from a somewhat entrepreneurial background and starting a small business and seeing an opportunity to get involved with a group that was diverse and had this rocket ship, propulsion going up in all these different areas. I think the excitement of seeing all these different pieces come together and not just live within an area of, that you are enthusiastic about and study for in college and apply on a day-to-day basis, but really getting outside of that and seeing what others are doing and be able to be plugged into other groups. I think the breadth that Leader offers is probably the thing that's most exciting to me, and being able to work with guys like up here and everybody out there on a day-to-day basis keeps the job interesting, I would say.
I think for me, it goes back to our vision. So if our vision is to create value for our clients and for each other, to me, value in this world is accumulated when every individual lives out who they are, who they've been created to be. I mean, business is only a medium. People only pay for our services, for who we are, for what skills we bring, and those skills are things that we've been given as talents. And I feel like that Leader offers a really unique context for us to express those talents, and for me to express my specific giftings and my specific talents for the service of my clients, for the service of my team, the service of all the collective organization. And so, to me, it's an amazing opportunity for us to Rick's point, to self-discover, say, who am I? Who am I created to be? Who am I? What expert am I? And how do I live into that and find that and express that on a daily basis? That's business. Business isn't about dollars and cents, even though it is, but you make the most money when you express yourself most clearly as who you've been created to be.
For me, it would be a sense of entrepreneurialism and limitless potential. I think if you come to Leader and you've got a vision, you've got a passion, you can chart a course, you can find that. If you're committed to seeing something grow or becoming an expert in a certain area, this is a place where you can do that. And so I think there's endless opportunities. There should be no ceilings for anybody.
Yeah, that's great. There's not a whole lot I can add to that. I mean, these guys said it. The vision is key in the Leader way, being a part of something bigger, something different, building off the heritage and foundation that's been built before us, and we're the stewards of that, all of us. We can steward that into the future, and we do have the ability to create and develop what leader becomes, what the next chapter is. And I think, you know, part of today is opening that book and turning the page to the next chapter of these things, and being able to answer these questions and living out the leader way, not just so we all feel good and feel good about ourselves, but to create value for each other and for our clients. And really, you know, the profits and the value from a monetary standpoint are only a byproduct of us all living out our purpose. So if we're doing that every day, and you know, I like what you said, Jonathan. I mean, if you find your expertise and thrive in that, then this will happen naturally for all of us. So, guys, thanks. It's been fun. It's been a good journey the last couple of weeks. Talking through this stuff, and good time being up here with you guys. Anything else you guys would add? Good. Me neither. All right, we're gonna jump ahead. We're gonna jump ahead to Mr. Steele, and we're gonna liven it up a little bit with a live leader lounge.
In the leader lounge, I think today we have with us one of our newest employees, Heather Helton. Come on up. We've got Brad Merriweather. We've got Steve White. Would they all pull from one table? And who else we have here? Megan Von Totter. So come on. Anybody else want to come up? Oh, you're handing out mics. Good. Don't worry, there are no trick questions. I will not bite. I especially be nice to new employees. So you're in good shape, Heather. Don't worry about it. Well, good. It's going to be nice to hear from some of y'all. Thank you to Chad and the rest of the leadership team for the great job they did in casting the vision of where we're going. I think it was extremely helpful. I know it was a lot of information, but really none of it matters without the people. And so the Leader Lounge in a few minutes will recognize those folks that are going to win the inaugural Leader Way Award, and how special that is. And these are individuals that are new with our company and individuals that have been here for a while. So it's a good mix of folks. But welcome to Leader Lounge. Steve, there was no need to dress up today, but appreciate your formalness here in the lounge.
We've got several people that are Natalie attired today.
Yep, we've got a good range of folks. Now, Steve White joined the Leader team in February of this year, right? February 16th to be exact. Sorry, Mr. Attorney, I'll get the details right. But Steve's not new to Leader. I don't know how many of you know this, but back when Leader and UMA formed back in 2001, February 15th, 2001, there was a year that we operated in getting ready for that merger and the union of those two companies. Steve served as our corporate attorney at his firm when he was at Hunt & Williams. So Steve got a window into the early days of Leader when there were 10, 12 employees. And so Steve's had a unique window. He's worked alongside us for many, many years. And I'm going to embarrass him a little bit, but I was in the shower one day where I do most of my best thinking, and knew there was a gap that existed with Chad coming out of bringing Chad into the corporate team, and wondering what we were going to do to make sure that those folks were shepherded and taken care of. And Clark was charged with growing the business, and it came to me that Steve White had everything that we needed and embodied the culture, the character and integrity, all the things that were important. So Steve joined our team. Steve, why don't you give us a few thoughts about your journey with Leader over almost 11 years, and be brief.
As I've told many people on my team, I don't speak in bullets. It's really hard for me. So Rick Fossum's trying to coach me up on that. But
Rick?
Now absolutely. Rick can speak in bullets, all right? And so can Clark, by the way. The observation is this, very entrepreneurial. I remember the first business plan, Brad, the 4 kind of pillars and what it was going to be. And what's really interesting, Brad may not remember this, Brad and I used to have in Randy what I call the IHOP breakfasts. We just kind of talk about life and things. And I remember in the early days, first year, because certain things Leader was doing and where they were headed, and I actually talked about Brad, man, I wonder if I could play a role within Leader someday. I don't know if you remember that, but it was a long, long time ago.
I do remember that well.
Long time ago.
I kept you out for 11 years.
Yeah, exactly. But, as I've told people about this year, great companies have to try things, and great companies take action, but the superior companies recognize when they need to make adjustments. And I say that because Leader along the way, the last 11 years, has made a lot of adjustments with the business, the original plan and where you are now. So, I was excited about taking the opportunity to come on board because, I love people, and everyone's got a story, and, I love coaching, and I love mentoring, but yeah, I'm a strategist, and I'm an attorney, and a business guy, and all that, but this gave me an opportunity to, I think, fill a gap within the company, and as I've told everybody, I'm later in my career, but I still got a lot of energy, and I'd like to take Leader to a new place, okay? What? Is that
You
funny?
have a lot of energy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I do. I love what I do.
That's great.
As people know. So since I've been here, it has been anything like I expected. From a standpoint, as those of us on the shopper marketing team know, I mean, it's been kind of a rugged journey.
Yeah.
It's been a difficult journey. What I love is our team is stuck together. I think we're tight, personally. I don't know if everybody else feels that way. I feel really close to my team. I feel like I've become enmeshed in the company. And, what I hope to be is to be better utilized and leveraged going forward.
Good. You mentioned coaching. Who was the best coach pitcher you ever worked with?
So the story is, I meet Brad first, okay? All right, now here it is. So Brad and I were put together to coach an 8-year-old summer all-star team baseball. So Steele at that point, he was a catcher now, and for those of you who know, catchers and quarterbacks, you have a short, compact motion. So coach pitch is when literally what you try to do for some of the kids is you literally try to hit their bat, okay? You see their swing plane, and so it's like a pitching machine. So Steele was my pitching machine for the summer. I just wore him out, okay? I was accused of using him so many innings, but actually, Brad and I spent probably about 8 weeks together every day, living this travel baseball, and that's really how we became so close to me, Brad. When we came out of that, we were friends.
Yep.
So,
that's
yeah,
great.
But you could get it done. I bet you still could.
That's great. Megan, let's move on to you. Megan, you've been with Leader going on, will it be 3 years in December? Is that right?
That's correct.
Oh, that's awesome. And tell us about how you journeyed to Leader and what you've done and how that's evolved over the last 3 years.
Sure. So a lot of you newbies aren't aware, but Leader is a big advocate of the Raleigh Foundation. Mm-hmm. So this kind of ties into my unique something you wouldn't know about me, so I won't go there yet. But so I interned with the Raleigh Foundation in 2009 when I graduated from Kennesaw State. And it was a 10-week internship, and then 6 months after that, I had been interviewing. And Dean Crow, the founder of the Raleigh Foundation, which for those of you who don't know, Raleigh Foundation raises money and awareness for childhood cancer research. And Dean Crow came to me and told me about an open position, which my interview process was 3 interview processes. Started with, I think you guys were looking at me as a possible intern, and then thankfully you guys thought I was hopefully overqualified for an internship. So then it was at one point Toolbox, and then is now at Promotion Point. You guys were looking at me as either Promo Point or Mobile Casino, and luckily I'm on the Mobile Casino team. So that's how I started my journey here.
That's great. Brad, how did you get here? I know that you worked with other agencies, and there must have been something compelling that brought you to Leader.
Well, first of all, you don't have any stories about me that resulted from being in the shower, do you?
No.
Okay, good.
None that I'm aware of yet.
Just to make sure. July 11th, 2011 is my date, so I started about a year ago, came from another digital agency in Atlanta. Really just saw an opportunity to be a part of more than just a digital shop, but an integrated marketing agency, or what we're now calling a unified marketing agency. Was really, really impressed by some of the work that the LA department, our PR group had done, and really the opportunity to integrate digital into the rest of our marketing practices. So I started in July of last year, really focused on our General Mills business for the time being. Have had the privilege of working with our digital team to support TaylorMade. And then here recently, I've been initiated into the world of Glock as an account manager, and looking forward to being a part of that.
Great. Heather, you are the newest person on this stage, but how did you find your way to Leader? Or how did we find you, or did you find us?
Well, Julie Gallup, luckily.
Oh, one of my favorite.
I used to work with her husband, Weston. So,
wow.
Yes, and Julie luckily sent an email out saying that, Leader was looking to hire someone in Tampa as a new position, and thankfully I got through all 5 interviews, and now I'm here.
Wow, we went from 3 to 5, so, you had it easy, Megan. Well, that's great. Well, tell us what you do day to day in your role.
Well,
I know you're still trying to figure out some of that after 3 weeks, going into your 4th week.
Right, exactly. So I am new, and adapting as an off-siter in Tampa. It's been great and it's interesting. A lot of my role will be focusing on digital and all of the out-of-store elements, and then I guess as far as my team or counterpart Daniel will be handling all of the more in-store promotions. So.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Steve, going back to you for just a moment, some of you don't know, Steve was a super lawyer in Atlanta. He was a quarterback at the University of Georgia, loves his Bulldogs. He's had all of his kids attend the University of Georgia. What's one thing, you're kind of a touchy-feely, self-revealing guy, which I appreciate about you, Steve. Open book. But what's one thing possibly, if there could be something, that these folks don't know about you?
Well, thanks for that little introduction, Brad. I appreciate that. So I'm going to tell you something from the past, okay? So when you grow up in a small town, I grew up in Gainesville, Georgia, and you live on the lake, right? So one thing people would probably not expect from maybe someone, or maybe they would, is when I was in high school, my buddies, when we go out on the weekend, one of the favorite pastimes we had was bridge jumping. So Thompson Bridge, where's Lee Hogan? Thompson Bridge, you know it well.
It's about 5 feet high, right?
No, it's not. So you remember as a kid, Wild World of Sports, this is where you can tell my age, and they used to have the cliff diving in Acapulco.
Yeah.
Okay, this was similar to that, okay? But no, that's one thing probably no one in this room would know, is that I used to jump off bridges into the lake when I was in high school.
Awesome.
You didn't even know that, did you?
I didn't.
There you go.
You're living reckless.
Always got something right in the pocket there, right?
Great. Megan, I know we share a personal trainer together, and I know that you love to work out. Sorry, Christy. And I know that you're a dog lover too, and you've really had a heart for the Rally Foundation and other things. But what are some other things about you that these folks may not know, especially those who haven't had a chance to spend time with you on the West Coast?
Sure. So it actually ties into the Rally Foundation. I committed to the Rally Foundation to bike 1,000 miles up the East Coast. So I not only planned, the 10-day, 1,000-mile bike trip, but every day after my internship, I trained with, some local bikers. So we started in Atlanta and biked all the way up to Greenwich, Connecticut, and then worked our way back down to Atlanta. So it was me, now my husband, and then one of his coworkers at the time. And the three of us collectively biked 1,000 miles up the East Coast. So it was the most invigorating, painful, glorious experience that I ever did experience to this day.
That's awesome. Those of you who don't know, one of the things I'm most proud about at Leader, and Randy's heart too, is we've birthed about 4 or 5 nonprofit organizations, Rally being one of them. They were actually housed in Leader. We did all the branding. Rick Fossum's been on their board. Todd Brooks, myself, and others have been in an advisory position. But for a couple years, the Rally Foundation, who raises money for childhood cancer, started under the small little vision, and today, they've given away in the last 5-7 years, some upwards of $3-4 million. Their benefit bash is coming up this Friday, and in that one event, they'll raise $400,000 to $500,000 for childhood cancer. I say that because Brad Merriweather, one of the benefits of being engaged with them from a nonprofit is the benefit bash, and then they have a celebrity softball game. And that celebrity Brian McCann's the spokesperson for the organization, Chipper Jones, Smoltz, Glavin, Francoeur, Andrew Jones, all these Brave players. And I know you're a huge Brave fan. So Brad Merriweather is going to represent us this Saturday playing in it. And my only encouragement to you is to not do a Rick Fossum. So let me give you this. So Rick's so excited to play in it. He gets up to bat, and someone's pitching. He swings out of his shoes. The ball dribbles off, about 3 feet, and he takes off running to first base and does a face plant right into the dirt. So there's a low bar that's been set. Do us proud, buddy. Do us proud.
I'll try.
I
can tell that story a lot better.
Yeah. I'm sure you can. Brad, tell us one thing that this crowd and our listening audience may not know.
Well, I think it's our 4-year-old son that's probably most excited about me playing. He can name all the Braves players based on the lineup, their numbers, their positions. So he's as diehard a Braves fan as I know, and I've kind of created that beast. But one thing that most of you probably don't know about me. I've been married for over 7 years, but my wife and I have known each other since the 3rd grade. So all through school, same middle school, same high school, same youth group at church. So going on 23 years. So it's kind of a unique story.
And aren't you a singer too?
I dabble.
You dabble.
I wouldn't say I'm a singer.
I've heard maybe in one of our upcoming lounges we'll get you to sing for us.
I don't know about that. You may never get me to do that.
Accompanied by Lydia.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. We can do that. Now, Heather, there's a great chance that most of us won't know anything about you other than Julie. We'll talk to Julie later and get the scoop. But what's one thing about you that you enjoy doing in your spare time? I think you're a beach person. You like to spend time on the beach, being a Floridian. But tell us some things about you that we may not know.
Well, I thought, I luckily knew this question might be coming, so I did try and think about it a little bit.
That you can share in public.
So, yes. So I thought, okay, well, I guess there's a couple of things that I could throw out there. So I've lived in Paris.
Wow, oui.
So, but it was for a short period of time, but it was for a study abroad program in college.
Wow.
So I did, have a wonderful summer living in Paris one year.
Yeah, that would be great.
But you know what they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I couldn't tell you, I don't even think I could speak a full sentence in French. So.
Parlez du français?
No.
Okay.
So, yeah, I studied French culture and civilization and the language, and I'm sure if I went back there, which I'm actually supposed to be going in May for a wedding.
Wow. Very nice.
So I'm hoping a lot of it will kind of come back to me.
Good.
That was in 2005, so it's been some time. So.
All right, last question, and it's a one-word answer, Steve. I know that'll be a struggle for you. In one word, everyone, leader is.
Come on, man. That's a trick question.
It's not trick. Leader is. First thing that comes to your mind. Second thing.
One word, right?
One word.
Underutilized.
Megan, leader is.
Potential.
Brad, leader
people.
Is what?
2 words. It's people.
Okay. Heather.
I would say care or caring.
Great. Well, let's give these people a round of applause. I want to encourage you, if you haven't, a lot of what we've talked about and a lot of the case studies and a lot of what's going on, a lot of the stuff that were fun facts are found on the leaderboard. Please log in as often as possible, and we'll try to profile as many of our associates in the days to come. So give these people another round of hand, and thank you very much. Okay. Poor Randy has to be last, but before he does, as Chad mentioned earlier today, we want to recognize those individuals. The Leader Way is something we've been talking about for a long, long time, and there are folks who've, as we've migrated who we are and why we exist, and we look at the passion that we have for serving our clients, as so many of the folks up here said, we recognize that there's some folks who have been living out what we're talking about. And even though we're just now defining it and putting a stake in the ground, it's obvious to a lot of us that these folks embody the Leader Way. And so I'd like to recognize, we're going to recognize 4 individuals today. As Chad said, they will be part of the inaugural award. In every office, there'll be a plaque that displays the winners of the Leader Way on an annual basis. And additionally, as a thank you for living out what you believe and sharing your passion with others, we have a little gift for you as well. This person, this first individual, she attacks Leader every day with a relentless pursuit of greatness. She displays a maturity beyond her years. She demonstrates a natural ability to lead the charge on client initiatives. She is still one of the few people to raise her hand when any account needs additional help. She's always there to first to volunteer. She gives 110% every day. She has managed some of our largest accounts and some of our newest accounts. She's played a vital role in growing a lot of client relationships. Those on the West Coast know her as Katie Motorak, but our first recipient is Katie Kodarak. So let's give Katie a round of applause. Katie, thank you for everything that you do to make Leader a better place to work. And we're very proud of you, and I know your associates in the conference room gathered today are celebrating with you right now. Congratulations. This next person has an eye for detail and is willing to go the extra mile as well. She's courageous, steps decisively into new situations, into new challenges, cares deeply about her work. Her passion shows up in everything she does. She exemplifies the servant leadership because she leads by example, and everyone internally and externally finds her a complete pleasure and awesome to work with. Her peers look to her as a resource, someone to go to maneuver through client relationships. She's been here for several years now, and she's made quite a contribution. Orion Meyer, come on up. And she had a shocked look on her face when I called her name, which she shouldn't have. Congratulations on being one of the inaugural winners, you bet. We're proud of you. Okay. This next person, I guess the next 2 people I've had the privilege of working alongside. I've been able to get a firsthand snapshot of the work they do on a day-to-day basis. This next individual, she's a self-starter. She is passionate about everything she does. She's motivated to do great work. She's creative. She has a heart for people. She has an eye for excellence and wants to bring excellence. She's always the first to volunteer to do most anything. I've never seen her have a down day. She's always positive about everything that's going on. And she's always pushing the envelope in terms of new ideas and looking for ways to make Leader a better place to work. She's been here a very short time, and in her short time, she has made a great impact, and that would be Rachel Christopher. Gotcha. And was primarily responsible for coordinating this day-to-day. So thank you, Rachel. We're very proud of you, and you made a great impact in the time you've been here. All right. Okay, last and certainly not least, this individual is a tenured employee at Leader. He beats to his own drum, and that's the drum of Leader. He loves Leader. He embraces what we're about. He's always wanting to push the envelope in terms of, what we can be doing better. He's never satisfied with, staying status quo. He embodies the Leader story. He's consistent and steady no matter what he's involved in. For a creative guy, he can think very strategically. He sacrifices personally for the betterment of overall Leader. He lives out our core values and is a great example. If you want to look to an individual within our organization who sets the bar high for the standard of living the Leader way, that would be Rick Fossum. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Congratulations to all four of the winners. You're all deserving. It was very hard. There were so many folks that were considered and so many folks that live out the Leader way. We're proud of everyone. We're especially proud of these four individuals, and they are more than deserving of this. Last and certainly not least is Randall Mason Thrasher. And Randy's going to come up and kind of wrap this day together. I know we're pushing the envelope a little bit on time, but I think it's really important because Randy is really wholly the architect of our vision. You may not see Randy up in front all the time, but trust me, our strategy, our grounding, our vision comes from our chairman. He is wonderful. He gives us a lot of freedom to live that out and express it. You saw a lot of that today. But he helps us find our true north when we start to get a little off track. And I can't imagine Leader without him or doing life without him. So, Randall, thanks for coming up and sharing.
Thanks, Brad. That was very kind, very considerate. And notice this slide doesn't say in charge. This is because we tried to delegate everything we do to our leadership team, and it is a team. And if there's other than a couple of things you heard today, there's we're like a maple tree. You can take that home, right? And we have secret sauce, and if that doesn't work, we have pixie dust. So other than those things, Leader is a very special place, and I think that's the message that you would take away today listening. There's not much more that I can add to what's already been said. It was an excellent program, an excellent day of information and development and training, and we appreciate so much you guys being here and taking the half day, and hopefully it was worthwhile and valuable to you. This obviously a lot of thought, a lot of time has gone into the many hours of discussion about who are we, where are we going, what do we want to be when we grow up, what type of people do we need, what kind of services do we provide, what kind of environment do we provide, how do we go to market, how do we communicate internally, and on and on and on and on. So what you saw today was a very quick summary of literally 2 years of work. I don't think there's a day that's gone by in the last 2 years that we haven't had some kind of discussion about the things you heard about today. So the idea is we're trying to be very, very intentional and very, very deliberate about being successful. And we don't do everything right. We know a whole lot about what not to do. But we do work very, very hard at, as some of the guys said, getting better. I wish Charlie Fitzwilliam was here and Mark Altieri. Those guys are involved on the West Coast and across all of our accounts, and their leadership is second to none and very, very valuable. And many of you have met them before in their many trips out here, but those guys would have been up here as well. And when you see that, when you see the teamwork that goes on, every one of these guys, all of our managers, our directors, our leadership, our key leaders across the business, West Coast, East Coast, is an incredible team. We have a lot of number one, first round draft choices, is what I call it. We've got some exceptional talent across our leadership team and in this room and in the room on the West Coast in Seal Beach. Exceptional talent. And we've always said this is a very special place because of our people. But it's also because our people are learning to work together. It's because they learn to trust each other. They have confidence in each other. They're able to encourage each other. And it is very, very, very important that not only for the client's sake that we're able to assemble a team, as we hear over and over again, a team of exceptional people. It's very important internally that we realize what a valuable asset we have in our folks. And so we work very, very hard to reward you, to recognize you, to encourage you, to create an environment that is favorable, is a favorable work environment, and it is very, very important that with all the initiatives we have coming up, that we're able to pull together across practices, across the offices, and work together to leverage the power of our people. We're also special because of purpose, and you've heard a lot about that today. We're very deliberate and intentional in how we create clients and how we serve clients. There is no other purpose to business other than creating and serving clients. However, we feel like that's not enough. We want all of our employees to find purpose, meaningful purpose in working at Leader, meaningfulness and significance in working at Leader. So we work very, very hard to do that. We want to serve our clients well. We want to work with them well, but we also want you to find meaning and purpose in the workplace. And so we try to make that happen. But business is hard. Business is very hard. And for us to be competitive, we've got to continually move to where the marketplace is, move to where the customers are. And it is a daunting task. We have the responsibility to you to be good stewards of the resources we have, both financial and human capital. But we also have responsibility to always do what's in the best interest of Leader. And sometimes that lines up with us as individually, and sometimes it doesn't. But we have to be good strategists. We have to look and make good decisions. We have to use good judgment in what we do, and that's where we are every day, is trying to be good leaders, because it's not just about assembling good talent. And it's not just about having a good environment and a favorable environment. We have to compete and compete hard. And so it's not about just, playing business or having time to figure out what's our vision and our mission. We take it very, very seriously because we're in a serious business and we want to win. And we are on a road to great success. We've had great success. Our past is full of success. It's full of tradition. It's full of legacy. It's full of heritage. And it should give you confidence. We've been in business 28 years. And then the chapter that began in 2001, moving from tragedy to triumph, and with God's grace, we have survived insurmountable odds. And so nothing that we'll go through with the economy or with competition will be any worse than what we've already faced. And we came out of that strong. And we have performed well. You have performed well. But the future is bright, full of opportunity, but it's going to take a continued effort. We're going to pursue it hard. We're not looking back. We're not going in hesitant about what other agencies are doing or what the economy's going to do. We're going to take the future head on. We always have. And we're going to do some incredible things. But I encourage you to really engage in what you've heard today about the Leader Way. We can say all this stuff, and it sounds really good about what we think and what we've planned and so forth and so on, but unless you embrace it, unless you adopt it, unless you engage in the Leader Way, it has no meaning, and we won't be able to do the things we want to do. And so I challenge you to engage in the Leader Way. I would challenge you to excel in performance, because performance wins. We are a very high-performing organization across all of our business, and we want employees that perform and that contribute and that add value, because that's what the clients demand of us. And so I would encourage you to excel. Focus on the business at hand every single day, because that's what the clients are asking us to do, is to be consistent every single day in delivering excellent and exceptional service. And so that's our promise and our commitment to them. And so if you'll engage in the Leader Way and what you've heard today and apply that, and if you will excel in terms of performance, if you will embrace the change and chaos that is surrounding us. Our business goes as clients go. And so we're up some days and down some days, up some months and down some months. And so it's a chaotic environment because we're in the service business. And there's going to be change and there's going to be uncertainty. But if you will embrace that, knowing that the opportunities are bigger than the uncertainties. The positives are far greater than any negative you can think up. You shouldn't be fearful. We can't be fearful and timid going into the future. We can't be there. And so please focus on the opportunities. Please focus on the future. Focus on what you've heard today, and don't get distracted with what ifs. And I think Chad said it. If you have questions, I am available. All of the leadership team is available. You can email me. You can come see me. Walk right in. There is we cannot possibly meet all the expectations for communicating everything we need to communicate every day or every week. But I promise you, we can answer all of your questions in a very timely manner. If you have a question, if you have a concern, if you have an issue, please see your supervisor or manager first as a courtesy, and ask them to come with you, or ask them or let them know you'd like to come see me or Brad. We're there 98% of the time and would love nothing more than talk to you. And so from a Seal Beach point of view, all you have to do is call Rachel, call Kathy, or call me or email me, and I'll be glad to get on a conference with you, or be glad to get on the phone, or be glad to email back. So communication is your responsibility as well as my responsibility. It's two ways. So let's don't let a gap or a void in communication stand in the way of us focusing and concentrating on the opportunities before us. And so we're going to engage in the leader way. We're going to excel in what we do every day. We're going to embrace change. And, vitally important, we're going to encourage each other. We all need each other. Some days are harder on me than other days. Some days are tough. Some days are difficult. But we need to encourage each other to stand strong, be committed, remember your teammates. We have one rule at Leader among the senior management team: don't go it alone. Okay? We all have authority and power to make almost any decision and make any commitment we need to make, but we would be foolish to do that alone. We always get a second opinion. We lean on each other. We're very close, if you haven't noticed that. We have our differences because we are made differently, and different personalities and different skill sets. The complement of that, just like with you, is very, very, very powerful. So you're part of a team, and encourage each other, lean on each other, hold each other accountable. And you're responsible for the success of your group, your practice area, and for Leader. The last thing I'll say, the Leader story, you've heard it, you've read it. The Leader story is very powerful. Our past is very powerful. It's almost given to us as a gift, but it is only valuable if it becomes our story and we become part of it. Chad said the next chapter in some of his comments. The next chapter we have an opportunity to write. You have an opportunity to adopt the Leader story as your story. And you have an opportunity to star in the next chapter. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be exceptional. We're running very, very hard at finishing 2012. And we're way ahead, running very, very hard, pursuing opportunities in 2013. So it is like, we're working at a pace that I don't remember, and it's exciting. But we can't do it alone. We need you guys. You guys need each other, and let's leverage and take advantage of the power of the story, and the power of our people, and the power of our potential. We've got an opportunity that's very, very, very special. I know most of you haven't worked a lot of places, worked a lot of jobs. You're too young. I think our average age is like 29 or something, and that's when you factor old guys like me in. And so, that is so incredibly. We're so gifted with talent, and we're gifted with youth and high energy, but we have, because of we're young, we haven't seen what it's like in other agencies or the industry, or maybe we don't appreciate what we have in this place, and so. Just understand and appreciate the people around you, the talent that's been assembled, and what has been accomplished and what's going to be accomplished with your help. And I'm looking forward to great end of the year and a great 2013. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for getting us to this place. And I hope everybody's going back to work. Is that the case? No, surely you are. After being encouraged and like you are today, we appreciate you, and please take me up on whatever you would like to know. You search us out so we can answer whatever questions and do whatever we can to assist you in your career here at Leader, in your personal life. Okay, Chad. Thank you.
Two quick things, housekeeping. We've got T-shirts in the back once you go through these doors. The West Coast, you should have yours already, or Karen has them. I think they're divided out by size. Is that right? Great. What else? We're going to take a picture here afterward, right here. Okay. West Coast, if you guys could take a picture as well, that'd be great. Just a couple quick things coming out. What's next? We want to set expectations. We've talked about a lot today, but just to kind of follow up with practical steps. At-task training is happening, I think, as soon as tomorrow. Is that right? David here? There he is. Tomorrow and next week. Continued communication improvements, we're going to be talking through what that looks like. Leader Way emails. Todd is going to initiate something called Leader Way Wednesdays. We're going to talk through the card, the gray card. You're going to get an email every Wednesday dripping a one-pager or a quick snapshot or blurb of each of those over the coming weeks. We may do 2 a week, but eventually we'll get to basically a book of a description of what each one of those looks like. Performance reviews, we're continuing to tweak the performance reviews and based on part of what you've seen today. So that's probably, let me look at some dates here. That's probably not till January that we'll be able to get a lot of that stuff out, but we absolutely want to have it out, have everybody had seen it, even reviewing some of their people on it heading into the reviews this summer. Culture book, we're putting a lot of this type of stuff into something we're calling a culture book. It'll talk through the 5 questions, who Leader is, and be very informational as far as us internally. There will also be a brand book, which we'll talk about. Thanksgiving and Christmas social events. Put on your calendar I don't have it off the top of my head. I think it's Friday the 16th, Thursday, that's right, Friday the 16th, November, will be our Thanksgiving lunch, and Roswell will do the same in LA. And Christmas, we're looking this year at trying something new and to go into a different model. And we'll be talking more about it, but we're looking at doing a day of service, potentially with the Atlanta Mission again, instead of a large corporate company party. There's several different reasons for that, and one of which is it probably syncs up a little bit more with our values and the Leader Way. Also, it's been very difficult, as you guys know, when we look at large groups of, as large as we've gotten, it's hard to get everybody together on one night. It's just become very cumbersome. Last year, the feedback is people didn't like doing it by groups, and so we're going to try something new this year. Lastly, externally, the website launch is going to be coming at the end of November. So the date right now is November 27th, and look for that. Like Todd said as he sat here, there's going to be more discussion around a lot of the marketing launch. The brand book, the culture book is internally. The brand book is more external on what our brand looks like, what it stands for, the expressions of the brand. We've got that for the most part. Michael has spent a ton of time on that, Michael and Rick. And it's, I don't know, Michael, 98% done, the brand book? 99. So we'll be getting that out as well. And then the marketing materials, which we which we talked about, which we'll be tying a bow around those in December. So again, the whole goal as we look ahead to this slide is the idea of, building one leader. And as we head into 13, a lot of this stuff has been done. It's been communicated. We've talked a lot about it. And we're ready to put it all into action. And so that's a lot of what you'll be seeing is just getting this into action. So again, thank you for your time. Guys, I know this is a long time to sit here. We're only 30 minutes over time, which is a huge accomplishment. Huge thank you to Matthew in the back and the work they've done. The sound and the stage, that was a huge question mark for us going into this. So they do weddings, they do parties, they do other things. See them, a little plug here for you guys. And again, a huge thank you to the event staff, specifically Megan, Chrissy, Alex, and again, Rachel, thank you to you, Rick, all the hours on the presentation, and looking forward to what's ahead. Thank you guys. T-shirts in the back and a picture. We'll do the picture now up front.